She leaves. The new moon in Cardinal Earth on the 18th of January at 9 minutes to 8 in the evening, local time in Ireland, conjoined Tarazid and Quintal Ceres, sextile Neptune, and trine Uranus. She sets the cup before her and tilts it slightly, watching the dark leaves swirl in a hypnotic eddy. Images flash before her. Two worlds. A city that claws at the sky with steel and smoke. The horizon is jagged, smothered by chemical haze, neon flickering like fevered pulses, pyramids of concrete spiking the sky. Streets twist like veins through rusted masonry, tangled wires and wet stone, carrying the restless movement of a hive pressed against its own weight. In the other, the horizon rolls softly beneath a vault of blue, hills like exhaled breath, rivers singing across fertile soil and buildings flowering from the earth itself, a city that curves gently under sunlight, alive with wind and greenery. Leaning closer to the cup, letting her attention drink in both visions, she watches in meditative silence as the leaves settle like sediment constellations, solidifying both visions. Focusing on the first, she sees that the horizon is a jagged silhouette of industrial gargantuism, where the heavens are choked by a permanent, oily shroud of chemical mist. It is a world that has forgotten the sun, illuminated instead by the sickly electric pulse of colossal neon hoardings and the hellish flare of gas vents erupting from the summits of tiered monolithic pyramids. Here, the architecture is a decaying urban carcass. High technology is crudely bolted onto the crumbling masonry of a forgotten century, creating a labyrinth of rust, tangled wires and wet stone. And at the street level, a subterranean gloom pervades the alleys, pierced by the searching beams of hovering vessels and the flickering glow of automated stalls. The pavement is frantic, multicultural hive teemed with the populace moving through a haze of steam and acid rain, where only the breath of life is the cold mechanical hum of a metropolis that merely endures, as though its very mass were being silently weighed against the thin patience of the sky above it. There is no green to be found, no breath of the natural world. Nature has been utterly supplanted by a landscape of rusted pipes, tangled wires, and the cold mechanical hum of a metropolis that never sleeps, but merely endures. Moving along the narrow streets, weaving between the throng of people rushing past, everyone has their eyes fixed somewhere else. On screens, on purchases, on schedules. She noticed the small hesitation, the gestures that hinted at choice, that restraint at thought beneath the habit. Pausing, her journal lying in wait beside the mug, she wrote, "Maybe we should write a letter. Things just gotta get better." And the ink flowed easily, etching the knowledge of what was wrong into the page as she pondered. What could shift if someone noticed? Returning back to the vision, she looked to the sky. Rising in stark defiance of this terrestrial rot is the skyline of vertiginous extremity, the city literally bifurcated by the heavens. Above the thick, toxic cloud layer sits a celestial playground of needle-thin towers that pierce a pristine blue sky. These structures are graceful and arrogant, floating like islands of glass and marble over a sea of smog, suspended as if by some unspoken judgment of height and worth. Afforded only by the ultra-wealthy, it's a refuge from the dense noise and limited drab space of an overpopulated, sickly world, a chaotic, neon-drenched abyss where skyscrapers act as vertical continents. Their flanks are encrusted with smaller dwellings and dizzying holographic advertisements that pulse with a frantic electronic heartbeat. It's a stratified hive of glass and steel, where the distance between the sunlit spires of the elite and the lightless, rain-lashed gutters of the masses is measured in miles of sheer, unforgiving concrete. Far beyond hell's suffocating limits, the countryside offers no respite, existing only as a hollowed-out graveyard of biology. It too is a monochromatic expanse where the horizon is smothered by a flat, anemic sky devoid of rolling green or rustling timber. The earth, scarred by vast plastic-shrouded protein farms and industrial vats that stretch into grey infinity. The ground is a sterile dust, and the few trees that remain are skeletal, petrified husks, a leafless monument to an extinct ecosystem. The silence is profound, pressing inwards with a near physical force, and in it she senses both decay and the potential intertwined, a lattice of what has been lost and what might yet be shaped. She sets down her cup on the table and weightily inhales deeply, as if she's catching her breath before she suffocates. Returning to her notebook, remembering the people on the streets, fixated on their small compromises, their relentless chasing of what they didn't need. She could see the patterns in their choices, the invisible lines connecting desire and consequence, and she wrote, "We have agreed, with which we have agreed. Until you have it all, you won't be free." And then another. "You said waters is precious," and then dropped a slick into the deep blue. "Who told us to work around the clock for a home?" And the words rang like a deafening klaxon. Peering back into her tea, feeling its warmth seep into her palms, the dark leaves as reformed, and in their reordering, she could now see the other message. A world where the smog had lifted, where light touches the streets and where the people move with presence and a subtle pulse of conscious intention. In this world, the horizon curves gently, a soft embrace of green hills rolling beneath an unsullied azure vault. And here, the heavens breathe freely, the air a crisp, invigorating demonstration of a planet no longer gasping under a hydrocarbonated shroud. The architecture is not a decaying carcass, but an organic extension of the earth, structures woven from the reclaimed timber and living stone, their walls covered in vibrant, blossoming vines. Technology, once a tool of exploitation, now hums a gentle tune in the background, a silent partner in the dance of sustainability. Solar catchment shimmers like mirrored pools on rooftops, and wind sculptures turn lazily, harmonizing with the natural rhythms of the day. The paths wind through the quiet community gardens, their soil rich and dark, yielding wholesome foods. She perceives the possibility for connection, for flow, for life to bridge the abyss as people move with purpose, their gestures unhurried, faces open and engaging as they make eye contact and smile. Hunger still exists, but not for accumulation. Rather, it is for creation and the continual shaping of conditions that allow life to deepen and diversify, their spirits nourished by a collective recognition of the rich, multidimensional psyches that thrive beneath the superficial needs of want. Beyond the gentle hum of the living settlements, the land evidences the power of healing. Monochromatic expanses have given way to the vibrant mosaic of rewilded forests and flowing rivers, the earth a fertile ground where diverse ecosystems are encouraged to flourish. Skeletal husks of a forgotten time are being gently nurtured back to life, the air alive with the buzz of pollinators and the rustle of leaves. The deadening silence of the past has been replaced by a chorus of life, birdsong, insect hum, and the murmur of a wind through abundant foliage. The landscape is a vibrant nursery where the natural world is revered, not discarded in favour of a synthetic life-sustaining grit. There is no stark bifurcation of existence, no rigid stratification of wealth and despair. The towering structures where they exist are communal gathering places, libraries of shared knowledge, and spaces for collective reflection, reaching not towards an elite sun, but towards a shared future for all. The skies are for everyone, a vast, clear dome. She feels the pulse of embodied knowledge and the sacred geometry of collective effort and deliberate action. Paths wind through the gardens, abundant with food. Children laugh, winds stir leaves, and people move with attention that turns potentiality into reality, a reminder of the interconnectedness of a world where technology appropriately serves and where the integrated holistic needs of a people are sustainable and satisfied. Leaning over the tea once more, she sees the duality of worlds pressing together. one heavy and constrained, one luminous and free, and feeling the strain of holding them both, a knowingness arises within her. The reality that will flourish depends on the attention, the choice, and the willingness of those who perceive it to bear its possibility forward, to carry what is fragile and potent without dropping into haste or fear. Her gaze returns to the cup. The minutes pass, and in the swirling sediment of her tea, she sees the thin boundary between ruin and renewal once more, delicate and exacting, letting her attention drink in both visions, holding them in the same mind, feeling the tension of possibility vibrate through her. One city suffocates, the other nurtures. One drains life, the other pulses with it. She feels the weight of it settle. The world could rise differently if intention and perception were applied with care, if awareness were not merely held in the mind but carried into action, steady and precise. Choice is the bridge. Perception is the tool. Attention is the spark. The horizon bends towards those who notice, those who bear it weight, those who imagine and act. One world waits, heavy with what has been. The other waits, luminous with what could be. And in that delicate balance, she understands the first and hardest step. To see both, to recognize that either can flourish, and to let the hand of conscious attention guide reality towards the life she chooses to sustain. Though the leaves speak in patterns, their language is clear. We are on the threshold of bringing into being conditions of being that will create our reality. One claws at the sky with rusted steel and neon glows, the other sighs under the gentle sweep of wind and greenery. We stand at the threshold of possibility, where choices of industry or ecology, isolation or community, decay or renewal carve the shape of our civilization. Holding both visions requires effort, because in seeing, we bear the potential to act and the strength to remain open without turning away, to carry the full weight of what is and what might be without collapsing into despair or fantasy. Being drawn to write one final note for the night, she scribes, until I find my way back home. I will carry this. The divine is not above us. It is in noticing, in acting, and in the quiet understanding of everything we touch.